Okay, got your software loaded on your tablet. It's actually Orux Maps, and actually loaded really well. I do have it set up and running off my network just because of all the files I downloaded, and I wanted to put some of the newest stuff that I had, and I updated my tablet at the same time. So there is changes that occur, but right now this will do you for quite some time. But anyway, let's start it up. Double click. So typically the starts up with running a Google version, and it's just Google Maps online. You're actually online here. And running through Orux. And Orux is all controlled by these 3 buttons across the left, these 5 buttons across the top, and the 4 buttons here on the right. And I'll actually go through these and kind of explain those, and then we'll get right to pulling some maps up. So the first thing is on the right, the 3 buttons. These are the global settings. You'll actually go into these if you need to do any kind of adjustments to color or map settings or anything like that. You shouldn't have to. I've got everything set up for you. We really don't use the profiles or manage account. We do use a little bit of the tools. The map, we typically use it to switch maps either online or offline, and then also set up our overlays, and we'll cover that shortly. This button with the arrow to the right, that's how we manage our tracks and routes. You'll actually track the route you're taking. So you can actually track whatever you're following. You can follow a route, you can track it to know where you're at, and you can also pull up an old route and follow it simultaneously too. So it's pretty unique software, and I'll show you a little bit of that. This is where you create your waypoints. Obviously, you can create it over here too. That's what that shortcut button is. And it'll allow you to manage those. And last is starting and stopping your GPS tracking. You can shortcut button that over here. These buttons, of course, minus and plus, move your maps up and down, or you can do it interactively. This is your GPS position. This is start and stop your track. This is take a picture. And this one you typically won't use that much. I use it, but it allows me to create topos off of topo, or I can actually create it off of a vector map picture. But typically we use it for our topos. So actually, let's get right into it. We're gonna actually go right in and switch some maps just so you see how this works. This is online, this is offline. And you typically are online when you're at home or preparing your routes, whatever you're going to do. We're always going to be on Google Street Maps. So just be familiar with that button and that connection. That's why I made this video, just so you can always go back and reference, well, what was the online stuff you looked at? So anyway, we'll go back online. So we're online, we're on Google, and let's go to offline. That's how you're typically going to roll with this thing. And we'll have you 3 groups. We'll have ATV maps, we'll have state road maps, which are vector files, and topos, which are your typographical elevation maps. So let's do the ATV ones first. This is actually set up files from Garmin, which comes from Bob T. Bob T is the guy that does a lot of GPS tracking for Hatfield-McCoy trails, and he's just been a godsend just helping us out, learning how to track and trail all those, both Hatfield-McCoy trails and all the trails connecting all of those, and outlaw trails, or whatever you want to call them. But we'll just go into the first one. This is actually his software. And we don't have any topos or anything for this. His is actually running right from like a Garmin package. But you can see Hatfield-McCoy Indian Ridge right here. And it has all Pocahontas. It has Spear System. You can see some of those as we go down across here. And he has just all of that over in that area. Sophia, all the different places you want to ride, he'll have it all set up in here, so you can get familiar with them. It's just another option. I typically use them when I'm in Hatfield-McCoy, but you can also use this other software. I'll show it to you. So let's go switch a map again. We'll get out the ATV maps. Actually, I'll show you one more, which is North Cumberland. This is North Cumberland. This is an older file, but it is actually North Cumberland, which is Winrock. So you can see it right there. It's the older version I used 4 or 5 years ago. Nobody's updated since, I think, 14. So it's just an option for you to have on there just in case you want to see some old version or whatever. So let's switch a map again. Hopefully you're seeing we switch maps and how we do this. So let's go back to the ATVs. So we got state road maps, which are vector files, and topos. So let's do the state road maps. Let's actually go right to the common interest we all have, which is Tennessee. And you start seeing Tennessee. This is actually a vector file I pulled offline. You see Caryville. And you start seeing familiar sites here. And you should have a good idea that Winrock should be in this area. So let's, to show this over top, so this allows you to have 2 maps up at one time. We're going to use an overlay. So let's go into maps again. We'll go to overlay options. We'll go to load to overlay. And this is a group that I belong to that we share all of our map files and KMZ files. And he actually combines them and shares them to the rest of us. So we have Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Canada. We just got a ton of them out there. So we're actually going to go to Tennessee. So let's load this one. Go down and hit OK. Takes a little bit more to load this. This is a larger file. And you'll start seeing some very common information start coming up. As you can see, we start seeing Winrock. So blow that up, pull the files up, you start seeing the names come up. And a great file route we all know is Walden's Ridge. So all the other ones are on there. You'll see them as you scale up through here. You'll see, just keep going, you'll actually see several things clear up into, I mean, this goes clear up into Kentucky. So you're at Tackett Creek here. You're familiar with that. And it's just got everything. And this is a lot of the last minute and latest files. So this is how you'll track it. And then when actually you just start tracking it, you'll actually hit your red button. And then it'll start tracking. It'll actually have an arrow pop up and wherever you want to start, and it'll show that. So let's go and show the topo. This, you can actually switch the background map. We'll leave the overlay there. So let's get off the road maps, go to the topo. And the topo we'll be looking for is Tennessee, Winrock, Gobi. And all these are marked where you want it. If you go to any of these places, then you can actually go. Like if you want to ride Pickett, Pickett's on here. And you can actually hit it, and it'll go and have the topo for that. But we'll do the topo for Winrock. So automatically it pops right up, and you see it very clearly. So you can see it's a topo version. It gives you the elevations. You can see them as you blow up further, 1,400 feet here. And it just shows the map a lot cleaner and nicer. But it doesn't have all the road names that easy. You still see some of the general names that are out there, but I typically like to go back and switch and run the state road maps. That's just my preference. And it just makes it so that I can see if I'm intersecting or if I want to pull out of a trail and take a road back. And I end up doing that a lot, especially when I'm riding Hatfield-McCoy. So that's the general operation. Typically, you got all these different overlays, and you can remove the overlay, just like we did there. So we can put the overlay back on. We'll load it back up, Tennessee. And again, it's just a very dense overlay, and it just takes about 20 seconds, but it'll pop right back up. And there you go. So when you actually start pushing this button, you'll be creating tracks, and I didn't load all mine on here, but I wanted to show you. Let me actually take yours out and pull mine in. So actually this is my tablet. So what we'll do is we'll go, what if What if you were riding this area and you wanted to take a look at the route you did the last time you rode? So actually I can come in here and go to manage my tracks, and you can see I've put names to them. But if you look here, I did a Windrock Campground to Walden's Ridge to Caryville Flats with both of you guys. So I actually click that, and then I'll follow it as a route, and I'll say accept terms on it, and actually you see where it starts highlighting it. And when you go to Walden's Ridge, there it is. That's actually the route we took. The arrows point that way. So it's in blue, and you can see what we did. There's your bypass right there that you guys went down. Unfortunately, we met you guys right about in here somewhere, and you guys helped us through this, so we thank you very much. But you can see we tracked right on it, and we went down, caught 74, went up through here, and then we went on up to Caryville Flats. You can see it gets dense here because we're backtracking on the same trail, but there's Caryville Flats. And you can use that, and you can actually shut that off. You can go clean up routes, and it takes it right off. Again, you'll get used to using some of this, but it just takes practice and time. Just keep trying things. I'll try to put a file on here to help you out with some of how these work. But if you just keep going back and referencing this video and then looking and switching things around, it's pretty awesome. So like when you get back to the campground, you'll go in here and you go, okay, overlay options, I'm going to remove all my overlays because I really don't want to see those anymore. And then I'm going to go back, we're going to look for some local food or whatever. Switch map, I'm going to go online again, go to Google, boom. You're back to the local area, and you want to go down into somewhere down in there, and you want to see the different roads or directions. It's right there. So this is actually Google. Hope that helps you. If you got any questions, you can give me a call. Thanks.